Inbound Stevenson, 48 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Inbound I-57, a crash, Calsag Channel. It's 21 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishopport, 28 minutes. Westbound 8094 is heavy. Indianapolis Boulevard to Burnham Avenue in Lansing. Semi on the shoulder. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, a cold day ahead. Partial sunshine, but will likely be above the freezing mark for the first time in a while, with a high of 34 and a low of 20 overnight. It's 26 at O'Hare, 28 Lakefront. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, great coffee, period.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. President Trump releasing a statement concurrent with the start of the impeachment hearings yesterday, offering this.
What's going on now is the single greatest scam in the history of American politics. The Democrats want to take away your guns. They want to take away your health care. They want to take away your vote. They want to take away your freedom. They want to take away your judges. They want to take away everything. We can never let this happen. We're fighting to drain the swamp, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And you see why we have to do it. Because our country is at stake like never before. It's all very simple. They're trying to stop me because I'm fighting for you. And I'll never let that happen.
And I like the macro messaging rather than getting beset by the micro tedium of the hearings and a bunch of names that very few people know or can put in context or certainly could put on an org chart. And I'm not saying yesterday was a circus, but it did include a drag queen named Pissy Miles.
It did. Well, Pissy Miles came at the beginning of the hearing, and she was just bringing some levity to the situation, right? And garnering attention.
And before she left, she was subpoenaed by Adam Schiff. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Hogan Gidley. He is the Deputy Assistant to the President, Principal Deputy Press Secretary. Hogan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, and I really appreciate you guys bringing up Pissy Miles before coming into my segment. That's a really good transition.
Well, it happened.
So
just perfect segue.
Things couldn't get any crazier in
Thank
DC.
you. Great segue. I really appreciate it.
I want to treat this with the sobriety it demands. So here's the thing, Hogan. How did you think the day one went with George Kent and Bill Taylor? And I start from saying, hey, I thought George Kent, Bill Taylor, they seemed like honorable men and experienced professional Foreign Service officers. I thought for the most part they stayed within the bounds of what they knew to be true or explained why they believed what they believed to be true even when it turned out to be wrong. So I didn't take any offense at Taylor or Kent, but I did take a lot of offense at some of the antics of Democrats, of course.
Well, I mean, there were a lot of antics, don't get me wrong, and you could take issue with any number of them, but so much of this is just a joke. And, you applauded the president before my segment in not getting into the micro minutia here of this hearing. And that makes sense because so many people don't understand what's going on. Other than the fact the president's done nothing wrong, you can read the transcript. He released it so that he would be completely transparent to show you he did nothing wrong. And whether you're Democrat, Republican, or independent, you understand fundamental fairness. And you don't appreciate when fairness is refused from somebody, when due process under the Constitution is stripped away. And that's what Democrats are doing to Donald Trump. I mean, if you got a parking ticket, you get treated better than the Democrats are treating the president of the United States as they're trying to impeach him. And lastly, what a stark difference. While they're talking about all these ridiculous things and hearsay and conjecture and opinion and speculation, what they're not talking about are things that we need to do for the American people, like passing USMCA, that would affect manufacturing, farmers, and ranchers. Not to mention lowering prescription drug prices. We've done it for the first time in 50 years under this administration, but we could do so much more if Democrats would come to the table. They're not talking about a rational, reasonable immigration policy at all. I mean, they want open borders, and they want us to pay health care to every single person who comes here illegally for free. So they're not talking about the issues that matter to the American people. They're continuing down a partisan political road, and I think that was exposed yesterday.
Well, the mainstream media seems to be celebrating this fact that they learned yesterday of the second phone call between Sondland and President Trump, and they're claiming this morning on CNN that caught the White House off guard. Did you know about this second phone call that was made a day after the original one?
I wasn't aware of the call, but I mean, what? Another person with hearsay and conjecture that wasn't directly a party to a conversation with the president? I mean, this is like the line from Spaceballs. It reminded me of, like, it's my father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
I remember that
heard
line
something.
Too. Yes.
I mean, it's
great
like
Mel Brooks reference. Great Mel Brooks reference.
Right,
exactly.
Exactly. And I remember the follow-up was, well, what does that make us? And he goes, absolutely nothing. And it's like, what does that mean here? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Because there is no relation. There is no correlation. You heard both men say they never talked to the president. They never met the president. And so all this is their opinion on a call. Well, we released it for the American people to read and see. And let's not forget just a couple of fundamental facts as I do get into some weeds here. The aid was released to Ukraine. We did more for Ukraine with the missiles than Barack Obama ever did. We actually sent them lethal aid to protect themselves against Russia, and Barack Obama sent them pillows. Okay, sent them blankets.
And that,
so
and
we have completely changed the form. We have, that's right.
Yes.
And we have changed the foreign policy of this country, and that's what this was about. It's a policy difference. So much of what George Kent said was, I don't like doing this. I like to just keep giving tax dollars overseas. And this president said, no, I ran on an issue of making sure our money is wisely spent, that other countries pay their fair share. We're not the world's piggy bank. That was on full display yesterday. But I got to tell you, just to hit home with you guys there in Illinois, one of the greatest lines was from that congressman who said,
Mike Quigley,
hearsay
that's
much better than direct hearsay is much better than direct evidence. So explain to me in what court of law you would like to be charged with any crime, and the judge says, just so we know beforehand, before we get started, hearsay is going to work better here than any direct evidence. So it doesn't matter you weren't in the state at the time of the crime, weren't in the location. I heard you were, so I think you're guilty. I mean, it's just insane.
Well,
and Hogan, just so you know, we call him Froggy here.
Yeah, he's part of the Little Rascals group here.
Froggy.
Here's the thing, and again, he did a better job, I thought, impersonating a lawyer than Pissy Miles did impersonating a woman. But it's close.
Again with Pissy Miles. Again with this.
We're obsessed.
Here's the thing about that, though. This is the same thing the Democrats did with the Mueller investigation. We're going to make up in volume what we lack in substance. So if we have more instances of hearsay, that somehow gets us closer to the threshold of proof than any substance. And of course, it's just a charade.
No question. And look, don't believe the president of the United States who says he wasn't pressuring Ukraine. Don't believe President Zelensky of Ukraine who said he wasn't pressured, didn't feel pressure.
Yeah.
Don't believe the government officials in Ukraine said we didn't even know the aid wasn't there, and we sure didn't open an investigation. So what is all this for? It's just for politics. It's a power grab by the Democrats. They do it time and time again. And this was one of those instances in which, as this begins to kick off, we're in like basically round two, because they did everything first behind closed doors and selectively leaked pieces to the media to try and somehow hurt the president before this open trial starts. But they're still not giving us the due process that any other president has deserved and, quite frankly, has received, whether it was Bill Clinton or Richard Nixon. They all got their people in the room to ask questions, present evidence, cross-examine witnesses. And this hasn't happened here.
Before we let you go, one point I wanted to bring up, because George Kent made a concession that's important in questioning by Steve Castor, and that is that when Hunter Biden was appointed to the board of Burisma, quote, my concern was there was a possibility of a perception of a conflict of interest. So, well, of course, it's inherently a conflict of interest, but from George Kent admitting that that was an area of concern to him. If it was an area of concern to him, then why shouldn't it be an area of concern to President Trump and to the Attorney General's investigation into 2016 and so forth?
Why shouldn't it be a concern to the media
who
are on this, crusade to root out corruption at every level? Where's that? Look, I'm old enough to remember when Democrats cared about what happened in the 2016 election. And they were so incensed by it, they went on a 2.5 year, collusion witch hunt against Donald Trump. And it's fine when he's being investigated, but when he's doing the investigating, then somehow that's a problem. So, look, I think everyone's starting to see this for what it is. It's a scam. It's a sham. They lied about collusion. They lied about Kavanaugh. They lied about a cover-up. They lied about a whistleblower. They're lying about this now, and I think sooner or later the American people are going to understand this is partisan in nature. In fact, the only bipartisan vote that has happened on this matter was in our favor when Democrats defected to our side. So Nancy Pelosi, who said she wouldn't even open hearings unless this was bipartisan because it deeply divides a country, et cetera, she lied too, because here we are moving forward with an impeachment inquiry that's completely illegitimate and a complete scam.
He is Hogan Gidley. He's the Deputy Assistant to the President and Principal Deputy Press Secretary for President Trump. Hogan, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Yep, thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Lou Dobbs. No Fed interest rate cuts likely. Volkswagen expands electric car production in this country, and Google to offer checking accounts. Those stories next.
Guys, waking up over and over to urinate is not okay. But now you can reduce those nighttime bathroom trips with the ingredients in Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced. We're talking about less urges to urinate at night, less bathroom trips during the day, and better bladder emptying.
It's like taking 3 prostate supplements in one.
You can try a full 30-day bottle of P3 Advanced, free.
Just pay shipping and handling.
No strings attached.